Synchro summoning was a new type of summoning for a new generation of Yu-Gi-Oh! While the Dual Monsters era introduced the basic summoning mechanics, the GX era never got a new summoning type as it had to clean up some of the messier summoning types introduced in the first era to make them viable, being Fusion and Ritual. So with the classic summoning methods fixed up, the 5Ds era started the trend of each new Yu-Gi-Oh! Series introducing a new summoning mechanic. Enter Synchro summoning, and unlike Ritual and Fusion summoning, this mechanic was introduced when Konami knew what they were doing more and made this new summoning viable right off the bat, even giving it proper support cards and archetypes. As a result, nothing was really strange about synchros on the surface. Just summon your monster, put down your tuner, do some math, and bada bing, you have yourself a synchro monster. It's not like the nearly unviable classic Ritual monsters or the original Fusion monsters that needed super specific bad vanilla monsters for material. They made the synchro system universal. However, just like I did with Fusion and Ritual monsters, I want to find the weirdest monsters that synchro summoning had to offer. Since synchro monsters were not as overtly strange out of the gate like Fusion and Ritual monsters tended to be, I'll be judging how weird they are on a variety of factors, like their summoning conditions, backstory, effects, or simply their appearance. We love critiquing strange monster designs the most. It could even just make us think, wait, they gave that archetype synchro support? Alright, cool. And I say we because I'll be joined by my co-hosts NegetiveX.
Aha, I'm back.
And Judgment Meter.
I'm going to be confused during most of this video.
Now, let's rev it up with our top 10 weirdest Yu-Gi-Oh! Synchro monsters. Number 10, Naturia Leodrake. Effectless synchro monsters. I don't see a point to them. I at least see normal monsters still having a reason to exist during the 5Ds era of the game since they had support and still give us some fun lore on a monster or archetype, but with synchro monsters that have no effect, well, you just get a big block and nothing. You're not even gonna give us a generic effect? You can at least write piercing damage in this space. Since we were so far removed from vanilla Fusion and Ritual monsters from the days of old, this small group of normal synchro monsters seem like they just exist to give us cool artwork and that's it. Of this group, Naturia Leodrake stood out the most to me since he's from an archetype that actually had some good synchro monsters in terms of effects. And between all these effect monsters, we have a not very useful but still cool looking lion who can't do anything else but be a strong body. I assume the slightly beefier 3000 attack points is the trade-off for having no effect, but yeah, you're probably going to use one of the other Naturia synchros over this flower lion.
Oh my god, this is the evolved form of Dandelion. So cute. Look, it grew up. Aw, baby.
Dandelion's useful, though.
That's not nice to say. You're hurting his feelings. Apologize.
I'm sorry, Naturia Leodrake.
That didn't feel sincere.
I'm sorry, Leodrake.
I still didn't believe you that time, but let's move on.
Just gotta scratch his chin. I'm willing to guess he leaves all the corpses at my bedside in my shoes. Yes, you do. You don't have to kill because you can photosynthesize, but you do.
I mean, yeah, but Naturia Beast can negate spell cards pretty effectively.
I love it. I love it even more than Flower Boy. Are all of the Naturia cards just different, like, felines plus plant?
No, there's also Naturia Barkion.
Oh my god, it's a dragon. But it looks like he knows your secrets.
Not sure about secrets, but he definitely knows how to negate your trap cards.
I would have expected that to be a puppy.
Nope, just bark like tree.
No, bark like puppy. Bark like woof.
And finally, there's Naturia Landois, who I think has the weakest effect of the bunch and the hardest name combination to pronounce.
Well, actually, that's a great deal, because you're getting the greatest turtle in the world. He looks so smug.
And at least he still has an effect, unlike Leodrake.
It's like, what if we made a monster that thrives on its effects, but we didn't give it any effects? Genius! People will never use this card. We'll have some great filler for these packs.
The saving grace of Leodrake is I think the point of him being effectless is that he has effects on cards that portray future versions of himself upgrading his form and style. In Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree, not only did he receive a nickname, but he's wearing Evil Swarm Aurora Boros' body, showing he defeated part of the Evil Swarm threat in a major storyline involving Naturia and many other archetypes, along with showing us that if you mess with the Naturia bosses, your former existence will be a mere accessory in their wardrobes.
I mean, I do it in video games all the time. They should have called him Leo, the grave robber and keeper of the sacred tree. It looks like his tail actually bloomed. You know what that means? He'll be dispersing those seeds from there soon enough.
He also has some fusions too that make him even more crazy powerful. He started off lackluster, but I think Leo Drake ended up successful at the end of his story. He turned out better than Barkion, who appears to have been skinned alive by Naturia Beast, and now Beast wears Barkion's carcass around under the guise of Naturia Exterio.
My effect is that I murder. Okay, bud. I just kill. Alright, bud. Let's dial it down by 1,000, and we'll hang out with my bud Landois. He's like a tortoise, but on land. So, you know, like all other tortoises, because that's, by definition, tortoises are on land.
Number 9, Zeman the Ape King. This character was a serious minor villain in the anime and is a serious monster in general. He's not supposed to be goofy. Look at that threatening aura. But for some reason, this card was always funny to me.
He's a monkey. Actually, look at that six-pack.
I think it's because monkey or primate characters have generally been used comedically, especially in media I saw growing up. There were those movies with the funny chimps, IR Baboon, Abu, Curious George, Mojo Jojo, so when I see Zeman or Ape Magician, I find them funny because I expect them to get into wacky antics. But unless your idea of wacky antics is enslaving the monster spirit world, he's not here for fun.
You mean this was after the Air Bud craze, right? Where they're like, man, what other animals could play sports realistically? Dogs? Yes. Fish? No. Monkey. Wanna know why he's angry? Probably because people keep making monkey jokes to him. They're like, look at the monkey, it's so funny, he's doing magic. He's like, yep, you're dead now. Steal your soul with my lightning boy.
Then again, I've seen serious primate antagonists like Planet of the Apes, the Ozaru, Mojo Jojo, specifically in that Dark Powerpuff Girls movie, so maybe I shouldn't have been surprised. I think what unintentionally subverted my expectations was that, similar to other media, in the previous 2 Yu-Gi-Oh anime series, they had a comic relief primate at some point. Tristan was turned into a silly robot monkey in the virtual world, and Jaden dueled Wheeler the dueling monkey, so anime Zeman broke away from the cliche of monkey and ape-themed characters in the Yu-Gi-Oh anime and was a real threat. He wasn't kidding when he put that angry face on his dark magic hand on his card art.
I also thought that was a kiss. Like,
Another question I have about him, what do they mean when they call him the Ape King? Is he a king who just happens to be an ape, or is he the king of all apes like how Vegeta is the prince of all Saiyans? I know the ape magicians work under him, but does that also include Test Ape, Egotistical Ape, Ancient Crimson Ape, Grape Ape, Sports Ape? His Japanese name translates to calling him the Monkey Demon King instead of Ape, so does that also mean he rules over the likes of Acrobat Monkey and the Performapal Monkey too? Zeman's authority runs deep. Number 8, Formula Athlete Motorhome Transport. One of Motorhome's effects is that it gains levels when other card effects of its archetype, Formula Athlete, are activated. Being a naturally level 9 monster, it's dangerously close to the maximum level a monster can be, or at least what we thought it could be. While a standard monster's level can range anywhere from 1 to 12, with a hard cap at 12 as a starting level since you can't fit any more stars on there, Motorhome goes even further beyond, and by that I mean Konami prepared us for someone to activate a lot of effects to bring his level above 12. The card explicitly mentions an effect that activates when the Motorhome reaches the coveted level of 13, a level never attained by any monster before. It directly says 13 too, it doesn't cop out by saying 12 or higher or something like that. Okay, fine, it's not like you're summoning Missing No by going above 12, but when card effects raise levels, they either cap off at 12, or they just let it happen and don't recognize that those monsters are breaking the ceiling with their overly burly level. Motorhome may have been an oddball by raising its level indefinitely, but it showed us not to fear the potential of a 13th star gracing our monster's level. Number 7, Magical Android, Thought Ruler Archfiend, and Psychic Life Trancer. I'm putting these 3 in the same entry since they represent the same bit of weirdness that went on with early Psychic psychic monsters. First off, nothing is weird about these designs. They're all really cool.
I love her. Oh, she's so cute. She's kind of like a ballerina who would like suck you into a black hole if you didn't like her performance. So clap, guys, clap. I really want to hug her, but I'd also be afraid that I'd either A, break her, or she would break me.
Honestly, I'm really digging the look of this card. I like behind her how she's got like the dark sphere, the orange, the green. That's really cool looking.
I personally like the design of Life Trancer the best, but the other two were pseudo-boss monsters in the anime, so they've got that going for them. Also, they were released in the first 5D set before even other major boss monsters were, like Black Rose Dragon or Red Dragon Archfiend. So move over, Akiza. Sayer's got monster representation before you do. The power of Magical Android.
Magical Android. I know what I'm gonna say before I even see it. That android doesn't look so magical. Okay, now I'm actually gonna look at it. Damn, he looks pretty damn magical. It's like, I know I'm magical, but I don't want to let you know that I know I'm magical.
However, what gets them on this list is that they were the first 3 Psychic Synchro monsters released in the first 2 5D sets, and Konami didn't really know how to handle the new type at the time. Psychic was a new type introduced with the 5Ds era alongside Synchro monsters, and it was the first new type the game saw since it started. Technically, Divine Beast takes that title, but that rarely comes into play. Even though we were in an era where archetypes were necessary for new monsters to survive in a deck, outside of some ones with universal effects, Konami released Psychic monsters as if they were from the Dual Monsters era, as in their main type was treated as an archetype. What I mean is, it's like how certain effects used to just support types in general, like boosts all warrior monsters' attacks, or machines are unaffected. The small array of Psychic monsters were treated as their own archetype in a sense, just supporting each other universally like old school monsters. It was weird to see this old monster effect mindset return. I feel like the first group of Psychic monsters should have been an archetype within the new Psychic type, so you wouldn't have all these scattered generic Psychic monsters later on. Except Krebons, he can hang with anyone. As a result, for the Synchros, well, boss, what should we have Magical Android do? I don't know, just make it recover life points related to Psychic monsters. Kids love life points. These 3 Synchro monsters had the main gimmick of raising life points, which is a very underwhelming effect at this point in the game. Gone were the days of Cure Mermaid, so these new boss monsters for this new type didn't give Psychic the best introduction. Luckily, the type got some nice archetypes later on to make up for the slow start. Number 6, Mighty Warrior. Yusei's arguably the best Yu-Gi-Oh protagonist, but his deck, not my favorite of 5Ds. While the anime described his deck as a junk deck, he also was big on the warrior archetype. And yes, that's confusing. They all have warrior in their name, which is their archetype name, and they're all warrior type as well. Don't worry, they have an aesthetic, so you'll be able to tell when a monster with warrior in its name is part of the archetype. Maybe. Sometimes they were motorcycle related? Just check to see if Yusei used them in the anime. He loved summoning Speed Warrior in the bunch. Also Sonic Chick. We get hyped for Sonic Chick here. But the big part about this archetype was its Synchro support. Being the main archetype of the protagonist of the Synchro era, it was a natural fit for Synchro summoning. The warriors had a group of Synchro monsters that each had a tuner counterpart called Synchrons. Jet Synchron for Jet Warrior, Turbo Synchron for Turbo Warrior, etc. So pair up a Synchron with one of the regular warrior monsters, and you can easily get out their corresponding Synchro monster. Hope you like Junk Warrior the most because Yusei won't let you forget that he exists. However, in the middle of this archetype pattern is the Synchro monster Mighty Warrior. It was nice of Konami not to make a Mighty Synchron card to pair up with him, so he would be the oddball Synchro of his archetype. Since he strays away from the pattern, is that why he's so mighty? Or perhaps it's his effect that makes him so mighty. He can deal half a monster's attack points as direct damage to the opponent's life points when he destroys it. Wait, that's barely mighty. Flame Wingman can deal all their attack points.
So what you're saying is he's half as good. Man, wanna make him better? If he was a giant tortoise, or I don't know, say like a cat plus a flower, he'd be so much better. Also, what's up with his shin guard? Why does he have like an 8-foot blade coming off of that? It looks like he's gonna gonna cut his own arm off. That's why he only does half damage, because the other half goes straight into his arm.
Why did someone stab his knee with a sword? That's not nice. He's hurt. Someone go fix him. Call 911. He's got boo-boo. Need Band-Aid.
Can you imagine someone showing up to a hockey game with what he's wearing? Like, these are my shin guards. Dude, that's an 8-inch blade on your shin. No. It's like, no, trust me, it's the only one they had.
You know, looking at his color scheme more, it matches that of Battle Warrior. What if he just stumbled upon the warrior archetype by accident, and Mighty Warrior is actually the upgraded form of the famous Battle Warrior, the 700 attack point beater who can fight with his bare fists, triple exclamation point. Glad to see he's doing well, and got some better armor. Number 5, Penguin Brave. This is the best type of weird since it's a great support card that no one expected for an archetype that a lot of people forgot existed. Penguin Brave is an excellent synchro monster that came out in 2020 for an archetype that gets about one card every 2 years. The archetype? Penguins. This card protects set monsters and lets you swarm the field with other penguins, and has a quick effect that allows you to flip monsters face up, which will then activate the flip effects of some of the other penguins in your deck. It really pulls the archetype together. As noted, what made this monster so strange to me is that penguins, an archetype that rarely got support, received such an extensive upgrade with just one card over other long-standing archetypes that were more established but still needed modern support. Where's my Cloudian Synchro? Now don't get me wrong, I love that Konami did this, but the way that penguins had to spend over a decade just getting small drops of support and still being unviable afterwards made it feel like they were basically a forgotten archetype. At the beginning, there were just a few scattered separate penguin monsters, some normal, some with effects. It was like how there were a bunch of unrelated turtle monsters too. They weren't viewed as an archetype initially. Konami retroactively took a bunch of unrelated penguin cards and made them an archetype. It started to come together in 2011 when Great Emperor Penguin showed us that Penguin counted as an archetype, and then nothing else, until Puny Penguin came out in 2012, and then nothing else again, until No Penguin came out in 2014, and then nothing else again. Well, you see the pattern at this point. I'm interested to know why after all that time, Konami decided to finally give us a solid penguin boss in 2020. It feels like we had a slow build-up of mild penguin support, and then boom, payoff. It kind of feels like how the Gaga Gigo storyline has covertly been occurring on card art for over a decade. And not only did they give us one great penguin on a synchro card, but they gave us a 5-for-1 deal. Look at all of them.
There's a priest, there's a ninja, there's a wizard, there's a knight, there's a karate kid. There's Ryu.
Does that purple one next to him have a shuriken? Am I about to get killed by a ninja penguin?
A single moment of stupidity won't save you.
Fatality.
Which one's your favorite?
Oh, this is hard. My god, they're so cute. Oh my god, it's Koga from Pokemon. Oh, it's the penguin from Card Captors!
What?
Card Captors, it's Penguin Park, it's Penguin Park, Penguin Slide!
That front penguin should get a bigger shield and some more armor to protect themselves. Penguins aren't known for their speed on land, so he definitely should increase his armor load to protect himself.
Maybe he's so fast he doesn't need the armor?
He doesn't have mobility. He's gotta go tank, as heavy as he can. He doesn't even need a sword, he just needs to take the blows.
That's his job. He's sworn an oath.
I'm just gonna say, that warrior card had 700 attack, these penguins have 2400. Can you imagine being a warrior, and just the penguins are better than you? It's like, I'm a mighty warrior. Well, we got a penguin over here. 4 times your attack power. What? But I'm mighty.
Number 4, Lightning Tricorn. I love the Unicorn series of synchro monsters because it's a fun Articuno Zapdos Moltres lineup of electric unicorns that teach us how to count to 3. I also like that the team that used them in the anime, Team Unicorn, just had a deck of beast monsters that worked with other beast monsters with no specific archetype. However, at the same time, I don't love it for that same reason, since it made it difficult to play them in real life. As I said before, archetypes are key at this point in the game. While some of these loose beast-type monsters are fine, you probably needed a beast archetype to synergize with the unicorns to make them viable. But what really makes Lightning Tricorn the weirdest of the group specifically is how it lies to us with its name. The pattern should go Thunder Unicorn with 1 horn, good. Voltic Bicorn with 2 horns, makes sense. And then Lightning Tricorn with 3 horns. But when you take a closer look at Tricorn...
Tricorn. Oh, it's gonna be a unicorn with 3 horns, isn't it? She has a horse with oh my god! It has so many more than 3 horns. That's at least a 7-horn monster. I'm assuming one of the horns is missing. It's probably a 6-horner. Try-horn my ass.
Don't think we didn't see you hiding those other horns just because they weren't on your head, Tricorn. Nice armor, though.
This is very Saint Seiya.
Which character from Saint Seiya in particular?
Andromeda's brother, does he have blue hair? I really need to watch this show again. I don't know. There's so many iterations now. I just can't keep up. It's like 3D, triple D, extra D. I don't even.
Number 3, HTS Cymoth.
What the hell is this?
This is an old-fashioned case of me simply finding a monster's name and artwork weird. Everything else is fine. The summoning conditions are normal for a synchro monster, and the effect is good. Just a nice DD warrior lady double banish effect. But where do I start with these aesthetics? How about the name? What is it trying to say? Did I even pronounce it correctly at the beginning of this segment?
I believe it's pronounced Hot Cymoth. Hot Thymus? Hit points Thymus?
Was the acronym even necessary? What does HTS even stand for?
My guess is that the HTS stands for somebody who works for the company. It's probably Harold Tiny Smith. Tiny's his nickname. It's really a card to mock him, but only they know, which makes it particularly painful.
Huh, what was his job? Was he also an executive producer like the other cards that added human names to the localized names?
Well, I'll tell you this much, he didn't have a large role.
To answer the questions that we're posing, its Japanese name translates to Psychoconductor Behemoth, with Psychoconductor being wordplay combining psycho, because he's psychic, and conductor, because he's a conductor compound, and then Behemoth, because that's what he is, with the muth part being wordplay on bismuth, a conductor compound. The translated name decided to move the wordplay to Behemoth by putting psi as the first syllable, and then keeping the muth suffix pun. The first part of the name, HTS, covers the conductor reference as it stands for high temperature superconductor in the science world. Why they didn't just keep the Japanese wordplay, we'll never know, but either way, it's a complicated name.
And while it's hard to say, it's even harder to comprehend. Oh no, wait, it's like a little doggy with crystals. I thought the crystals were his head for a second, and I had no idea what was happening.
For the longest time, I just thought he was a cool looking rock since I never noticed the head at the bottom of the card, and then one day I just saw, oh, he's doing the Mad Dog of Darkness pose, and I understood him more.
Is it on something?
I think it's just supposed to be an electrified floor because he's a conductor beast.
No. I mean, is it on something?
Oh, yeah, he just smoked a blunt.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Number 2, Ursarctic Polari. Polari is part of the Ursarctic archetype, which are a bunch of bear-like robot animals based on the constellations in the Ursa Major part of space. I'm glad they renamed the archetype from its Japanese translation, since I can't pronounce Berarcti. Barkty? How do I enunciate?
Oh my god, is it a bear in a cactus? It is not a bear in a cactus. Oh my god, is this a bear riding like an iceberg?
He's actually in space. But the matter at hand is, Polari is a level 1 synchro monster. You know, synchro monsters. Monsters that are supposed to be summoned with 2 or more other monsters with addition, in a game where a monster's level can't go below 1. Do you see how Polari breaks reality? Is this what I get for criticizing that motorhome earlier for having too many stars? They give me a synchro with not enough stars? Well, they made this weird synchro monster the first of its kind by actually implementing subtraction. You technically special summon it with a tuner and a non-tuner whose difference, rather than sum, equals 1. And then you get all its cool effects and the duel goes on as normal. It's just the unique summoning requirement and level that lands it on this list. The concept of subtracting to synchro summon isn't even that crazy for the history of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Signers in the anime had dark synchro summoning, where they used dark tuners that specifically subtracted from the non-tuner monster to create a negative numbered level. They even had stars on the upper left side of the card instead of the upper right side to show that these were abnormal evil synchros. Putting stars over there. Heh, what a concept. When those dark synchros were brought to the real life card game, they substituted substituted the anime's version of a dark tuner with a literal dark tuner, as in the tuner monster just needed to be the dark attribute, so we were getting standard synchro monsters with summoning requirements instead. In the end, it may have taken over a decade since the 5D's anime ended, but the concept of dark tuning lived on with Polari. Who would have guessed dark synchros would have come to us in the form of a friendly teddy bear?
His love for his home, that's a soft interior, but he hides it well behind that armor and those sharp claws.
That's adorable. I need it. I want it. I need it as a fluffy.
No, you have enough plushies.
No, I need more.
Looks like number 1 is revenge by the synchros for me thinking that level 1 or numbers above 12 were the weirdest things imaginable for them. This card exists to unravel everything we knew about synchros, just because it thought it was fun, and because of the manga. Well, actually, it's a duo of cards. Number 1, Ultimaya Zolkin and Phantasmal Lord Ultimal Bishbalkin. Hopefully I pronounced all that correctly. To address the flying elephant in the room right away, where are your levels? It's blank. Where did you hide the stars? I know it says down here to treat them as level 12, but why did they have to fake me out like that? To my knowledge, the only reason Konami did this was for manga accuracy. While it was definitely cool to see these monsters reflect the manga, it was also weird to see a monster with a blank level for the first time, and after they turned all those anime dark synchros into standard synchro monsters for the card game. Why couldn't they release a few dark synchros with negative levels now that we saw that these cards set the bar for just needing a line of text to specify? Just make up some new ones if you need to. As for the effect of Zolkin, well, it summons boss monsters. In the manga, this was the equivalent to the Crimson Dragon in the anime. It was the catalyst for main villain Rex to summon all the Signer Dragons, which he was able to steal from the protagonists with Zolkin's super awesome card game powers of stealing. That's why Zolkin's in-game effect just happens to let it special summon level 7 or 8 Dragon Synchro monsters. But then they also have to specify a Power Tool Synchro is applicable too, since Power Tool Dragon makes everything more difficult with its machine typing. However, since it was the manga, the Signer Dragons it's referencing were slightly different from the anime dragons, like Ancient Pixie Dragon, Black Rose Moonlight Dragon, or Hot Red Dragon Archfiend.
You know, for a card with Hot Red in the name, there's a lot less red on this card than I thought there would be. Somebody's a liar.
If you think that's bad, he basically gets less red for each word you add to his name. Just take a look at Hot Red Dragon Archfiend King Calamity. Yes, I like to say the name like that.
Who chooses these names? I'm digging the color schemes, but like, there are too many muscles. Who are you trying to show off to? What is happening?
What is he, a beetle? We'll tell you this much, he's got more biceps than are good for him.
Bishbalkin is the boss after the boss, when Rex reveals, oh hey, Zolkin wasn't actually my boss after Zolkin's destroyed. Bishbalkin just floods the field with his tokens, and gains 1,000 attack points for each monster on the field, including the tokens, so he actually has a cool combo to raise his attack to a ludicrous value. You can summon both these guys by basically synchro summoning, but you have to call it special summoning because, you know, levels. Zolkin is summoned by sending 2 level 5 monsters to the graveyard, 1 tuner, 1 not, and the same with Bishbalkin, only with 2 level 8 monsters. A shame Bishbalkin couldn't add instead of subtract, since I would have liked to see how they would make a level 16 look. When you run out of room up top for stars, just put them on his eyes or something. I feel like there are better things you could do with 2 level 8s on the field, but follow your dreams in the end. So, with levels that our feeble human brains can't see, and some over-the-top effects, Rex's pair of boss dragons takes the title of our weirdest synchro monsters. Now, what did you think? Did you like our synchros, or were there some other weird ones that we accidentally left in the extra deck? Also, what are some of your favorite synchro monsters in general? Let us know in the comments. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and we will see you in the next video.